trying to hit a guy, I would say that you probably aim at his ribs. He can move his head, he can move his legs, but the middle part of his body is very difficult to move.
That was Bob Gibson. He believed in having part of the plate, and you had to give it to him, you know. I mean, and he threw very hard. I always thought about it. It always was in the back of my mind that one day he'd go turn loose one and he'd come upside my head with it. You know, I felt it.
Bob Gibson told me one of the greatest quotes that I've ever heard. He said, "Half of that plate's mine." And he said, "Now you got to figure out which half I'm coming after."
He was just a great competitor. His whole disposition, you know, that he wanted it more than the hitter wanted to hit him. When he got tougher, he could reach back inside and get a little bit more when they needed to.
I hit a squibber that Q shot it up the middle for an RBI single, and the next at bat he drilled me in the arm. Boom, right there. Still have a mark.
He tells me now, because I've said it a lot of times on there, he said, "I didn't hit nearly as many guys you guys think. Look it up."
Gibson would look in like this.
Yeah.
He couldn't see, though.
He couldn't see, and that's what, all of a sudden, the catcher's putting the sign down in the shadows, he couldn't see, and Bobby going like that, and the hitters the next day said, "Why in the hell are you looking at me like that?" And Bob said, "Man, maybe I'll just do it every time, where I can see or not."
Since the day I turned 19 years old, I haven't had really good eyesight, and I wore glasses. Never on the field, but I wore glasses, and I would look in and try to see the sign. So the intimidating factor, I think it's the way I look, period. I think one of the reasons that they viewed me as this ogre is because I was a black kid. White kids did the same thing, and nobody even thought about it, but I did it, and this guy, you know, this monster, and that wasn't going to hold me back. And I don't imagine I did anything to dispel any of that, you know, but I don't know where that image came from. I guess it was because I was who I was.
You're not an angry guy.
I'm not angry now. I was then. We never got any runs. Well, anger came from racism. Of course it did. But racism was a way of life. That it was stuff that I had to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I didn't every once in a while go somewhere and all of a sudden there it was. No. It was there, and it followed me all the way through my childhood, and not just through the childhood, through the first part of my major league career. It was there. That fueled a lot of the anger that I suppose I projected. I don't know. I'd have to be on the outside looking in. All I knew was the way I felt, and I felt that I had to be better in order to get just as far. And I was determined to do that.
In 1968, Bob Gibson delivered what by many measures was the greatest season any pitcher ever had in Major League Baseball.
In 1968, I was in a zone that entire year. At the age of 32, I was probably as bright as I ever was going to be. I was strong as I ever was. I had complete control over the game. I felt like I could throw the ball anywhere I wanted to throw it. That's the zone that I was in. And I was in this zone for a complete year, which is kind of unusual. You might be that way for a game or two, but not for a full year.
Hoot won 22 games, including a record 13 complete game shutouts. His earned run average became one of baseball fans' magic numbers, like Hank Aaron's 755 home runs or DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak. 1.12, a staggering 35% lower than the next best figure ever recorded in the live ball era.
You know, you talk about angry. That look, I lost 9 games that year. because if it wasn't a 1-0 game, I didn't win. And I would sit by myself on the bench, and nobody would come near me because I was pissed off. You know, just get me a run. And my roommate, Kurt Flood, we'd get one run. He said, "Okay, roomie, we got it, hold them." He thought that was funny, but that was not funny at all.
In Game 1 of the 1968 World Series, Hoot capped it off with the most dominating performance in series history.
A 1-2 pitch to Cash. Struck him out on a blazing fastball. The 2-2 pitch to McCollum. Struck him out. Got him! Struck him out! The 11th strikeout. He struck him out swinging. Once again, a standing ovation. A new World Series record.
Certainly, 17 strikeouts was, I guess it's still a record in the World Series.
And he could end it all now with the most dramatic of flourishes. He got it! Struck him out! Look at the scene on the field, the corner of the first run. A new world record of 17 strikeouts in one game.
Doing what you do and knowing that you're good at it, that's the great feeling. Not just playing ball, but I knew that I was good at it, and I could do pretty much what I wanted to at a certain point in my career, and that's a wonderful feeling.